Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to One Hub Racing. We are here for round number 7 around the Imola circuit, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this is going to go down for this evening. My name is Jay Cole, taking you guys through this for this evening. Joined alongside myself, as always, is Jamie. Jamie, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. Yeah, looking forward to this and another round of this very exciting championship, and I can't wait for it around a classic track, which I think is very much Marmite amongst the community and One Hub.
Yeah, it certainly is. And in case you're not English or don't know the saying for that, a lot of people do tend to love it, but a lot of people do tend to hate this track. So it's a bit of a mixed bag in terms of Imola, but I think majority of the drivers are quite a fan of this circuit, and I am of course one of them. I do really like this circuit, and obviously I'm happy to see that it is on the One Hub calendar for this evening. And of course, we are now we've now reached the halfway point of the season. We are now into the second half over in Imola. Just in case you guys are forgetting what the calendar looks like, Imola for this week. Next week, of course, with it being the Singapore Grand Prix, we are then going over to Singapore for next week. And then we've got Qatar over in round 9, Austin, Texas in round 10 for, again, the real life circuit, the Americas track. Mexico a week after that as well, and then over to finish it off out in Sao Paulo for Brazil for the final race of the season. And I'll be honest here, Jamie, I think this championship is going to go down to Brazil. From the way that it's looking at the moment, it's looking like a 4-horse race for this title.
Yeah, I think that rate result last week opened up massively, and also another development which we'll talk about later, which may open it even further. But yeah, it definitely is going to go right down to the wire. And as I say, there's multiple drivers in contention, and it's good to see. And obviously, with medals all the way down to top three, even battles like third and second are very exciting. But yeah, that championship battle is going to be very close, and you have to say Morgan is definitely two in a row now for him as he got his 3 second penalty removed from Baku. He's definitely the man on form at the moment.
Yeah, he certainly is. So, as Jamie has just said, Morgan, of course, did end up actually taking the win in the end last week after getting that 3 second time penalty removed. So it meant that Larkin did end up finishing in second, is now separating 1 point between both Morgan and Larkin in third and fourth in the standings. But it is still Papa Squanch after the first time for him not finishing on the podium for this season. Unfortunately, picking up a P11. Did end up he's still leading the championship at the moment with 95 points to his name. Solau with yet another fourth place. He's had 3 fourth places and 3 second places. Is sitting second in the standings, 6 points behind Papa Squanch. I say Larkin in third with 82. And Solau on 89 points, shall I say as well. Larkin on 82 in third, and Morgan in fourth with 81. And then there's a big jump all the way down to Phased in fifth with 49 points. So hence why we were saying it is a bit of a 4-horse race for this title for this season. The rest of the guys have got Rich in sixth with 47 points, starting to look a bit more now on form. Mikey in seventh with 32 points, with Moqui in eighth, 25 points. Jess in ninth with 23, and Welsh Benjamin rounding out the top 10 is 19 points to his name in the Alpine. And as I say, we're here for round number 7. Of course, we are at the halfway point of that season now. Anyone in particular, Jamie, that's been a bit of a surprise, or anyone that's been a bit of a good surprise, or anyone that might have been a bit of a letdown for you so far this season?
I think my good surprise is Jess, and obviously Jess is the first time outside the bottom tier, and to be in the top 9 in the standings and getting a 5th place last week. Obviously Mikey got a 3 second penalty last week that bumped Jess up to 5th. I think Jess has to be the biggest surprise in a good way. In a bad way, I have to say, after racing with him in the P2 tier last season, I expected a bit more from Joe this season. I know he's 11th in the championship, but he hasn't really had a big result at the moment. I think he's got involved 1 or 2 instances, but I think Joe and Salah needs it for his Constructors' Challenge. I think Joe needs to up his game a little bit, because, yeah, he's getting consistent points, like sort of 9th, 10th, 11th, but that's not going to do it if Mercedes won't have a chance to win the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, that's a very, very true indeed. And I probably have to agree with you in terms of good surprise, Jess being there in ninth position. Like you say, it's her first time outside of the bottom tier, sitting in the middle tier, and is, trying to fight for a top 10 spot within the standings. And I think she can be very proud as to how she's doing so far. And I get the feeling she might also have a bit of a decent result for tonight, but we'll get a bit more into that a bit later on this evening. But yeah, Jess definitely. I think she's made a massive improvement from last game, and I can only see her just improving a lot more as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. In terms of probably the biggest disappointment, it was a man that was sitting in the P1 tier last season. Somehow, and is now sitting as probably one of the only drivers in One Hub history that is sitting on negative points. Is Mr. Iverbryn Mike sitting on negative 1 point? He has picked up points this season, but due to penalties, he's sitting on -1. So he's at the very bottom of the standings. And as I say, I think this is a very. I think Mike will probably also agree that this has been an abomination of a season for him, that he probably wishes that it could just be over by now. Maybe the second half, though, it might prove to be a bit better for him.
Yeah, the one highlight from this season was probably his qualifying in Belgium. That was a good race for him. But yeah, ironic enough, the race where he scored points in round 2 in Canada, that was the race where he got the minus points. So yeah, he's finishing the points, but it was a minus point because he failed to supply footage to stewards. And for drivers racing this season, remember, save your footage or stream your footage, whatever you do. Remember, keep your footage, because if needed by the stewards and you don't supply it, you will get a 3-point penalty. And every time you do it thereafter, the penalty increases. So make sure you save your footage, guys. You don't want to be on minus points like Mike.
Exactly like that. You don't want to be like Mr. Iverspin Mike over here. So yeah, make sure you guys are saving POVs if you are the ones that are watching the stream at the moment. And you do end up getting involved in some form of incident. Just at least then you're not ending up on minus any points from your championship, because to be honest with you, it could be the difference in terms of winning the championship or not if you're one of the championship leaders. I mean, like I was saying, it's a 4-horse race at the moment for the top 4. They're all separated by 14 points. So a 3-point deficit could potentially be a bit of a difference for one of those championship leaders. So yeah, it's making sure that they do end up saving their POVs for that. But I know that we are currently into the qualifying. There's one more thing I just need to quickly talk about just before we do jump into the qualifying. As you can see on your screen, there is a slight bit of a change in the lineup. I say a slight bit. Finally, the second Haas seat has been filled by a new driver called King Fi Panda. Unfortunately, isn't racing tonight, but that is just a slight change that we have had for the season. So we're back to now a full grid in terms of everybody in their cars for the rest, hopefully for the rest of this season. Hopefully there isn't going to be any chopping and changing between any of the drivers, and hopefully, you know, we get this full 20 on the grid for well, up until the end of the season as well there, Jamie.
Yeah, definitely. That would be good to see. We've had good turnouts all season, basically. And yeah, it'd be nice to hear that Haas seat full. And yeah, obviously, I think a couple of the P2 drivers recommend him to race in the tier, to race him, so he should do quite well here. And yeah, I'll look forward to. Well, I won't see his race in Singapore. 'Cause I'm not here for Singapore, but look forward to seeing his race in Qatar. See how he does there.
Yeah, I completely agree. So we'll see how he ends up getting on over in Qatar, as you say. And I think, you know, well, over in Qatar, over next week in Singapore for myself as well. I think it's going to be pretty good for all of these guys. And yeah, as you say, Singapore next week. Again, we'll dive a little bit into that later on in the stream, but that is going to definitely produce some very interesting racing between a lot of these guys next week. So I'm looking forward to that. But of course, enough about next week. We are here for this week around Imola. Qualifying is currently ongoing, and we will get straight over into that at the moment. I think we've got about 12 minutes left to go of qualifying. So at the moment, Papa Squanch is the one that is sitting on the top with a 114.657 to his name. Fade in second, up ahead of Morgan in third. Salau in fourth, Moki in fifth, Rich in sixth, Ivory Mike in seventh, Cam in eighth, Mikey in ninth, Joe ran out the top 10. A couple of things that we also forgot to mention very briefly were a few of the stewards reports. Obviously, I know you mentioned about Mikey getting a 3-second time penalty, which promoted Jess last week up into fifth. But Mr. Papa Squanch has been a bit of a naughty boy in the qualifying stages, and he's gotten himself, to my knowledge, a 10 grid place penalty for this race.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, that's very naughty. I believe that was for impeding qualifying. Well, he got a 5 place for impeding qualifying, and then he got another 5 place penalty for retiring on track, which is very strictly forbidden, because if you retire on track, then your AI takes over, and you've got no idea where your car's going, and it might distract the car on a flying lap. So that's what he got the penalty for there. So that's going to really hurt his chances on a race on a track where, overtaking semi-difficult, because obviously, yeah, the DRS straight is very overpowered, but if you get stuck behind a car after DRS zone, it's very difficult to take the rest of the lap. So yeah, that's not ideal for Papa Squanch tonight.
No, it certainly isn't. So not only that, there's a few obviously the people as well that are taking a few like gearbox and engine penalties for this evening. So Papa Squanch will be along or around the likes of them, even if he was to qualify on pole position. There are guys that are taking some penalties for this evening. In fact, it's actually 4 people, and they're all taking a gearbox, so all with a 5 grid place penalty for this evening. Moki, Mikey, Larkin, and Welsh Benjamin. So Larkin taking one is definitely the biggest standout in terms of that for me. I know he's sitting down in 16th at the moment without a time on the board, and I believe he's actually about to put a time on the board, so we'll go on board with him in just a short moment, as Mikey's also on a lap. And as I say that, in fact, Larkin has invalidated on his lap time, so we're not going to run on board with him. We'll stick on board with Mikey. But yeah, those 4 taking their gearbox penalties for this evening. I say Imola is not really the easiest track to overtake around here. I think it's definitely one of the more tougher ones, purely because there is only one DRS zone, and the one DRS zone is on the start-finish straight. So I'd say it's taking a gearbox or even any particular engine penalty around here probably is not the best thing for a lot of these
No.
guys, but they've opted to do that. They're confident in themselves in being able to do that. So we'll see if it plays out for them.
Yeah, the next couple of tracks coming up are not the easiest places to take engine gearbox penalties. That's why I wasn't hugely surprised to see a lot of guys take them in Spa and in Baku. So yeah, I'd say the next 3 rounds, it's going to be very difficult to take an engine gearbox penalty. It's going to be difficult to go through. So yeah, I'm not surprised to see less, but I'm surprised to see the amount that have. But I'm not surprised either, because a lot of guys and ladies have still got some to take, so they've got to take them somewhere. And people thought this might be a weak track for some drivers, and I thought I might as well take it on a weak track here. I'm going to qualify on the back anyway, so I might as well just take it here. Maybe you get less than a 10 place or 5 place penalty. So that may be some of the reasoning behind that. Or some guys may think this race might have a bit of carnage. If I start at the back, I may get myself through the field. So yeah, interesting to see. And yeah, obviously them guys are going to really struggle to overtake, and so is Papa as well. So even Papa goes on pole, the best he'll start is 11th on the grid. So because I think the stewards penalties get applied last. So yeah, so that's not great news for Papa.
No, it certainly isn't, and I completely agree as well. I mean, I'm one of them from last week at Baku, taking an engine penalty at probably one of the worst tracks for me, and I only ended up dropping, I think it was like 4 or 5 positions. So yeah, and Baku being one of those tracks where there's multiple DRS zones, I think it made it a bit easier for myself. Still didn't really finish higher than 11th, but hey ho, it is what it is. But yeah, I think it is definitely a surprise of a few of the people that are taking it here. I think Larkin's definitely got a job to do if he wants to try and hold on for title hopes ahead of the likes of Morgan, Solau and Papa Squanch. He's definitely got to try and produce a very good qualifying session for himself. And I know what he can be like around this circuit. In previous games, he can be pretty nifty around Imola. So
yeah,
I believe Larkin can, maybe put himself within the top 5 in qualifying. Maybe drop down into 10th position for the actual race after his gearbox penalty. So I get the feeling he could have a decent race this evening. He's just got to try and play it play it perfectly. You've got to try and play it right to make a few maneuvers here and there with a few of the other guys here. But you know what? We'll stick on board with him because, as I say, we're on board at the moment to see what he can do for his lap. And Solau just comes across the line. I'm on 14.644 for his second lap. 6.5 minutes left to go with qualifying. Most people out on probably what will be their second to last runs, including this man on your screen here, Larkin. Down towards turn number 1, braking just after the 100 metre board for turns 1 and turn 2. Trying to get too much on the second curb, as that can chuck you out and spit you onto gravel on the right hand side. Come through turns 4 and 5 now, and being, you want to take as much of that exit curb as possible without getting onto gravel. Down in towards the hairpin, braking just after the 50 metre board, and chucking up into third. Again, you want to get on the power as early as possible. Now come through the fast left-hander here. Can be a very tricky corner. Can catch a few people out for sure if you're not careful. Now coming up towards Aqua Minerale, the uphill section, probably the toughest corner on the circuit, because if you try and get on the power too early, you are without a shadow of a doubt spinning into the wall. And now coming up towards the chicane, again, very tight and tricky chicane. You want to take as much of that entry curve as possible and as less or the least amount on the exit one as possible, so you get the best run out of that chicane. Now up towards the final 2 corners for Larkin. Again, very nice exit he gets coming out of there. First lap time on the board for Larkin is 1:15.282. Not a bad lap time for him, but I know he can definitely do a bit of a better lap time for that.
Yeah, looking at the 14 for sure, and obviously Larkin also got good members of this circuit. This is where he secured his championship in season 19 in position tier, and a certain Axellock will know an infamous moment in that race, so I'll just leave it there. So, but yeah, this is where Larkin secured his championship. So yeah, he's got good members of this track, and looking to do some more tonight. But yeah, because we'll get some more taken to do, because if with that penalty applied there, he's going to be starting near the back of the grid, so he does need to improve his time, because he won't be starting near the back of the grid. You want to start in the midfield if possible.
Yeah, no, certainly do. So yeah, I think a lot of people are just making their way into the pits. We've got about 5 minutes left to now go of the session, and 4.5 minutes shall I say now. So yeah, a lot of people are going to make their way into the pits to get themselves ready for a final run. Cam is the one coming across the line, one of the only ones still on a lap. Jumps up ahead of Larkin with a 1:15.275 thousandths of a second up ahead of the Red Bull, as there is a Mercedes coming out of the pits. To my knowledge, I believe that is Mr. Joe B.
Yeah.
So yeah, Joe's coming out of the pits now, but I think a bit early to start the final lap. But I suppose you get yourself some clear track, so you can start that one a bit early.
Yeah, but also if you got on the field, if you validate early on, you'll be able to back out of it and go again. But it has to be early on, because if you commit to if you validate later on, then you won't have the tyres or the battery. So yeah, that's interesting. But he's not going to get best conditions, and that may cost him a tenth or two, because as the conditions keep ramping up, yeah, look at that. We've got a tenth. We've got a tenth between the top three. That's what we'd love to see. A tenth between the top three. Probably the three fastest drivers in this tier, and they're all separate by a tenth a second. Great to see.
Yeah, it certainly is. So yeah, Morgan, Salah, and Papa Squanch all very, very close in terms of timing wise. And again, it's definitely qualifying around here. Definitely matters. So it's just to see who's going to come out on top of the three of them. Of course, with Papa Squanch's 10 grid place penalty, he will drop down significantly from that. But again, probably just to try and stop Morgan and Salah would be pretty decent. As Fade was just coming across the final corner, wasn't looking like a bad lap time whatsoever, but as invalidated on his lap, so he's coming into the pits. Mokwe is on an in lap to my knowledge as well. I can see the fuel light flashing, so yeah, he is on an in lap for sure. So we're running board with Joe. Let's say the only one that is probably out on an actual lap for his final run in that Mercedes. Again, probably one that you were saying earlier, Jamie, that probably could have a bit more of an improvement on his season, especially to try and help his teammates allow out.
Yeah, definitely. He could do as he's backed out of this lap. Must have made a mistake, so backed out of it. So he's got enough time to go again, recharge the battery. He won't use it too much of a tyre, but he won't be in the best condition. I think he made a bit of a mistake in the Villeneuve chicane, and he's backed out of it. So yeah, I think we curse him there by simply going on board with the Mercedes man. So obviously he'll go again. The car's now leaving the pit lane, and this is the key moment now. Papa Scotch came to the pits with 3 minutes to go, so it'd be tight for him to go out again, but everybody else should get a run at this, another run at the qualifying. So as I believe Benjamin may be on lap. Let's see what his first sector is. It's 3 tenths down, so not the best lap there by Ross Benjamin so far. As Vitinho, I believe, will be another guy down lap. Vitinho had great pace in Spa, but unfortunately for him, wasn't able to show it with an instant with Mikey, so he's yet to score, so he'll be looking to get off the mark this season. But he has got the pace to score points, definitely. But you want to have a clean race for once, as he's a tenth down the first sector, but it's the middle sector where it's the meat of the lap here, really. All 3 sectors are similar sort of times, so they're always match the 3 sectors, but this middle sector, it's going to get some traffic. That's the only problem with Vitinho on this lap. It's going to be very difficult for him to get this lap in, because the traffic, you have to get out of the way, you have to be aware it's on a flying lap.
Yeah, you certainly do, but I'm still riding on board with Welsh Benjamin. He was actually 4 tenths up on his second sector, so he is looking to make a bit more of an improvement. He went a bit wide out of the penultimate corner and up towards the line. He does improve on his time, goes up into 13th position, just up ahead of Joe. Vitinho, 10th and a half down out of the second sector in the Ferrari, so he's got a bit of traffic in the way, but I don't think it's really going to affect him too much. Everyone out on an out lap at the moment, and I think Mike will be the final one to come across the line. In fact, actually, sorry, he's on a lap at the moment.
Yeah, he's starting a lap now, and Salow's also lap. He's got a 10th up in the first sector, so keep an eye out for that. Mikey coming through sector 2 now. The sector 2 marking point is around here. How's he looking? He's a 10th up, but he's invalidated, so that lap won't count for him. I can see the red line, so lap bump. So we see what Salou can do. He could be a pole position contender. He's 2 tenths up, so if he gets through here nicely, he should be pole. Very aggressive on the curb there. That was a very aggressive line there, but had a bit of not the best of exits, but he carried so much speed into it, it may not matter. The final 2 corners now, this is just about line and traction. This is all this is about, and if he improves, he should get on pole here with a decent last few corners. What can he do? This could be a 14.4, I reckon. What's it going to be? A 14.5, and he's on pole position, but can Morgan meet that? That's what we want to find out. And Papa Sconch as well, who has got out just in time.
Yeah, he's managed to get a lap time on the board. Checkered flag is now gone. Weapon Proverb, Mikey and Mokwe all not able to get a final run done, and Morgan, a massive improvement on his time so far, and I think this is looking like it's going to be a pole position contender for sure. Papa Squanch as well. I'm trying to see what he is. I couldn't see at the end of the second sector, and I couldn't see it for Morgan either, but I saw that he was up on his time. In that first sector, he was up by 0.2 of a second, so he might even be looking to almost push this into the 1 minute 13. But up towards the line comes Morgan. It's a 1:14.424. He proves literally by just 1/10 of a second. Papa Squanch is improving by 0.2 of a second. Bit of slipstream off of the Alfa Romeo as well. Gets into pole position. Catherine jumps up into 4th position now as well. Faye not able to make a put time on there. And Jess also jumping up into 6th position herself. Of course, with Papa Squanch's penalty, she jumps up into 5th.
Yep, Larkin up to 8th, so Larkin not the best lap quality for him there, but yeah, Jess, great lap by Jess. And also Catherine. Catherine is my style quality, look at that. Only 3 times off pole. And I think that slipstream may have given Papa Squanch the pole, because look at the difference, it's 300s, and I think he got 300 of slipstream there, so that was a vital bit of toe there off the Sauber, which is giving Papa Squanch the pole. I don't think he would have got it without that slipstream.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think Lawrence was definitely the one that gave that helped that out for Papa Squanch as well. So, yeah, puts it on pole position, does our championship leader, but of course with that 10 grid place penalty, he will be starting down in 11th position. So Morgan will be the one on pole with Solau just behind him as well. Catherine, a very impressive qualifying from her. And Jess starting just behind her as well in 6th, or will be in 5th position. Fade as well, just in between the pair of them. Rich in 7th, Larkin in 8th, Moki in 9th, Cam ran that top 10. Mikey and Mike in 11th and 12th. That's not going to be confusing for us whatsoever. Welsh Benjamin 13th, with Joe in 14th, Coutinho 15th, Florence in 16th, and Proverb. Again, didn't manage to get a lap time at the very end of that, and is going to be starting at the very back of the grid. But yeah, very, very good qualifying session overall. Very, very close qualifying session as well. And I think this is definitely going to make it for a spicy race with the likes of Larkin and Papa Squanch. I think, to my knowledge, they're going to be starting right next to each other.
Yeah, that would be fireworks for sure. That would be popcorn out moment, and trying to make their way through the field. And obviously turn 1 and turn 2 at Imola is a chicane, which, you know what turn 1 chicane's like. It could be a bit tasty through there. And obviously the start finish straight is not really a straight, it's a curve, so that's going to make it a bit more interesting. The grid's weirdly on the curve as well, so yeah, we could have some fireworks in the turn 1, and it's quite a long run as well, so watch out for guys in the second row of the grid maybe getting a bit of a run on the guys in the front row. That could be one to keep an eye out for. We may see Catherine leading the turn 1.
Certainly could, as you say, the ones that are on the second row could have a very good shot of potentially going in towards the lead, going down in towards turn 1 and turn 2. As you say, it's quite a long run down towards those first turns, so it's definitely an opportunity for them to maybe make a few of the positions up from the guys out of the very front of there. But yeah, it's going to be Morgan and Solau on the front row. We've seen it multiple times before with the two of them on the front row. Is this finally going to be Solau's opportunity for him to win this evening, or is he going to come up again with another second position, or even again another 4th position?
Well, I was in the practice up with him just before my race, and tell you what, he looked extremely fast. Like, he looked really fast. Like, but the problem he had in that race is he got loads of penalties. Now, whether he's testing it out for the actual race, but I think if he avoids the penalties, he can definitely win this race, because his pace in that practice race, I think you in it as well, was absolutely insane. But he's not going to win it with 15 seconds of penalties, so he's got to make sure he keeps it in the track limits. But I think he's definitely got potential to win the race, and he has had a few times this season, but he's just one or two things haven't gone well for me. But he's got the good position he needs. He's got a front row start, and if he gets offline well and takes the lead, he could control this race. But Morgan, you can never write off Morgan. He has been the man of the season. He's been the best rookie of the season so far, and them two, I think it's going to be between them two for the win. But I'm going to go with Solo, because I think he's due a win.
I think Morgan, if I'm honest with you, I think he's taken a 3rd win in a row. I think he's definitely the driver in the P2 tier that's looking the most on form at the moment, bar Solau and Larkin, in my opinion. I think Papa Squanch, after that race in Baku, has kind of knocked him a little bit, but he's looking to try and maybe make a bit more of a jump up in the grid for this evening. But I think Morgan, he's the one that's looking the most on form in P2 at the moment, as I say. So, in my opinion, I think he'll win it for this evening. I think Solau will definitely get on the podium again. I don't think he'll finish in a new position. I think he'll finish in 2nd, sadly, for him. But I expect them two to give us a very good battle for this evening. And do you know what? I'm going to put Catherine in third. I think, again, she's not had the best start to her P2 season after dropping down from P1 earlier on in the season. And I expect Imola to be the start of things for her to, try and get some more points on the board for both of the McLarens. Because Cam's already gotten a few up in 12th position with 16 points to his name. So I'm expecting Catherine to probably do the same for this evening. And the McLaren's, hopes can start for this evening in the second half of the season. So, yeah, I think Catherine's definitely going to be. I think she'll finish in third for this evening. So, those are our podium predictions. Make sure you guys are who you think is going to end up winning this evening. Pop it in the chat. Is it going to be Morgan? Is it going to be Salau? Is it going to be Catherine? Is it going to be anybody else? Could it be Larkin? Could it be Jess? You never know. Make sure you are putting it in the chat, and we'll see who you guys think will take the win for this evening. But whilst we are waiting for the grid to be formed up by Jess, we'll quickly run you through the sponsors for this evening. So, obviously, to start with, in terms of sponsor-wise, it's a big shout-out to, of course, Next Level Racing for providing prizes at the end of the season. I'm intrigued to see what ones that they're going to be providing for at the end of this season. The next sponsor for this evening, of course, be the new one of Sim Racing Setups. They provide a pro setup bundle for F125 created by top esports drivers from leagues such as PSGL and WLR, offering dry, intermediate, and wet setups, and also two different types of setups, more of a safe and an esports type of setup. Also providing strategy tips and a track map on when to use ERS during qualifying. They sponsor the league by providing vouchers for weekly driver of the day winners and the driver of the season who finishes with the most driver of the days. You can also use code 1HubRacing at checkout for 5% off for the setup. So make sure you guys are using them and utilizing them as much as possible. Even if you are racing in One Hub, or if you're not racing in One Hub and racing in any other sort of leagues, make sure you guys are going over to them and giving them a bit of the support there. So big shout out to Sim Racing Setups. Next sponsor for the stream is Pure Sim Gear. They sponsor the league by providing sim racing socks and gloves to the driver with the most fastest laps and pole positions over the course of a season. You guys can use code OHR10P to get 10% off on their sim racing socks and gloves. Second to last sponsor for the stream of being Vespertine, of course, our very own Salau, the main sort of head of Vespertine. They support our official apparel and also provide some great merch prizes, and I believe for the Going Gets Tough award as well. So big shout out to those guys for sponsoring as well. And finally, our partner over at SimGrid. Without using them, we'd be using a load of Google Documents and Google Spreadsheets, and it would get a bit confusing for all of the admin guys and probably for ourselves to try and figure out who is where in the standings as well. So without using a load of algorithms and databases, it's all combined into SimGrid. So big shout out to them as well. And as I said, big shout out to all of the other sponsors as well for all of this being provided in One Hub, because without them, we wouldn't, or the guys like the admins like yourself, Jamie, Jess, wouldn't be able to run the league as well. So I'll see a big thank you to all of our sponsors for this as well. Any particular surprises that you may have thought of within the qualifying that we've had this evening, Jamie? Anyone? I know you were saying about Catherine being the best qualifier for you, but anyone that was a bit lackluster for yourself, maybe?
I find it hard to remember. I think Larkin's qualifying this season hasn't been that great, and qualifying 8th isn't what he wanted to have taken that penalty. I think Larkin he's definitely more of a race pace guy in this game, but I think his qualifying pace is costing him because he just had to start too far back. Yeah, he's always great in the races, but I just think it's not the best. He won't be too happy with qualifying, and Jess has got a pretty good head-to-head record against Larkin in qualifying. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think Larkin is a bit more lackluster in qualifying. I would say definitely a lot better in the race. similar to myself. I'd say I'm a lot better in the race than in terms of qualifying, but yeah, definitely a bit more lackluster in terms of qualifying side of things. I think if he makes that improvement of his qualifying, obviously barring tonight because he's got the gearbox penalty, but if he makes a bit more of an improvement in terms of qualifying, I definitely think he's got more of a shot of going against the likes of Papa Squanch and Solau for that title, because I think, as you say, I think that's kind of what lets it down. If you're not starting in the position where you're trying to battle the guys that are in your championship leaders, then it's going to be a lot tougher for you to try and battle with them going into the race. So yeah, I definitely think he needs to make an improvement on his qualifying, and I think he will have the best opportunity of being able to challenge for the title. I say we was mentioning it very, very briefly between himself and Papa Squanch. That is the rivalry for this evening. Papa Squanch 5-1 ahead of Larkin in terms of qualifying, but race 2-4. Of course, Papa Squanch taking 3 wins for this season. Every race he's pretty much finished on the podium, other than in Baku last week, where Larkin ended up taking 2nd position. Of course, both, Papa Squanch with 3 wins to his name, with Larkin's 1 over in Monza, and hopefully he's going to try and look to do it this evening in the other Italian circuit at Imola. 5 podiums to Papa Squanch's name, with Larkin's 3 podiums. 13 points is separating between, 13 points separating first and third in the standings, to say 14 points between the top 4. So I think all 4 of these guys could be within this little rivalry shout. I think that's what it should be anyway, all 4 of them. We just couldn't fit it on a graphic. It would be very, very difficult. But yeah, I definitely think all 4 of them they're making a name for themselves to try and get within, try and win this title. And it's getting a lot tighter. And I think towards the end of the season, like I was saying towards the start of the stream, I genuinely think the top 4, this will go all the way over to Brazil.
Yeah, definitely. Might not have 4 in contention, but we definitely got Brazil. And I believe we have 3 drivers in there. I think a 3-way battle, because obviously it's a maximum of 20 points on offer. So, and it could have 4 different championship leaders tonight, depending on what happens in the race. So that's going to keep an eye out for. As obviously now we're not long till the race, and yeah. It's good rivalry. I think it's been good banter between the front runners. There's not been too much needle here. It's been nice, in a nice spirit, unlike another competition this week. But yeah, anyway, it's definitely been good to see, and there's a lot of respect among this team. We don't see many arguments after the race. It's all very civil, and I expect to see more of the same this week.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So I think it's definitely going to be a very interesting start to this. Second half of the season, shall I say? I'm definitely looking forward to it. Quickly, just so you guys are made aware as for who is where on the grid before we do get into it. Morgan is the one starting on pole with Solau in 2nd, Catherine in 3rd, Fade in 4th, Jess and Rich ran on the 3rd row with Cam, and Ivorbrin Mike in 7th and 8th. So maybe this is Mike's opportunity for him to get some points this evening. Joe in 9th, Coutinho in 10th, Papa Squanch in 11th, Lawrence in 12th, Larkin in 13th, so he's starting just behind the championship leader, the 2 obviously picked for rivalries for this evening. Mokwe in 14th, Whip and Proverb in 15th, Mikey in the other Aston Martin in 16th, and Welsh Benjamin in 17th. So a whole of the grid almost in an Aston Martin sandwich, which is quite interesting. So Morgan and Solau at the very start. Catherine and Fade are going to look to try and make some positions, and even Jess, if she has a good start, could be very, very interesting.
Yeah, it could be. It could get 3 or 4 wide in turn 1, and obviously it's not really suitable 3 or 4 wide, as it sort of tightens up on entries, so that could be one to keep an eye out for. We're not very long till we'll get underway. Obviously, we don't get much warning this, it sort of just happens, so we'll wait and see, and yeah, it should be a good one. And not mentioned tyres yet. Tyres around here are quite interesting. The rear tyres do like to go off around here, so it'd be interesting. I think there's options of either double medium or double hard. I don't expect to see too many soft tyres around here. Maybe if there's a late safety car at the end, but I don't see too many softs at the start of a race. But we'll wait and see. I expect to see majority drivers starting on the medium tyre, as we're still waiting for the race to go. Obviously, drivers can get a chance to load their setups and their strategies and their fuel levels. As we've got 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are underway, and it is a good start for Morgan. He's done that really well. Solo's going to slot in, take a bit of the slipstream, and Fage may challenge on the outside, but he backs out of it, and Morgan managed that really well. Another good start for him. We've got Catherine and Fage going side by side. They go side by side still. Fage manages to hang on, and that's allowed the front 2 to pull away as Rich goes around the outside of Catherine into the Villeneuve chicane, and Catherine is down a place. Jess has hold station, but we've got Papa Squanch up to 9th and Larkin down to 13th, so Papa's a good start there. He's got a moment, he's hit the back of Cam, I believe, managed to hold it, and that's allowed Joe to repass him.
Yeah, certainly has. Someone's just had a bit of front wing flying off of their car as well. Very good start for the top two, and same with Fade, managing to get up to 3rd position. Rich as well. Very good start from the other Williams, so trying to make up for, obviously, with Papa Squanch's 10th place penalty. The other Williams has now had to come into play, and Rich is definitely doing that for sure. Going to have to try and put a bit of pressure on a few of the guys out in front of them. I say everyone looks like they made it through pretty cleanly so far, but as I say, there was a bit of front wing that went flying off. That is of one of the championship protagonists, and that is unfortunately for Larkin. Larkin has got himself front right end plate damage. I don't know if he picked that up from Papa Squanch having a bit of a half spin as he tried to opt to go down the inside of Joe B in towards the penultimate corner. Not going to be able to get any sort of move done. Are we going to see Larkin maybe make his way into the pits at the end of this lap? No, he's not. He's opting to stay out. I suppose whilst you're sitting behind someone, it's probably best to go ahead and do that. Just to not ruin the strategy too much. But yeah, Papa Squanch already losing out DRS to Cam out in front of him. Joe and Ira and Mike both going side by side in towards turn 1. Mike gets out into the goes up ahead of the Mercedes in front. In terms of actually people on the tyres that they're starting on, everyone on the set of mediums other than Faith and Papa Squanch and Lawrence. Lawrence has opted to start on a set of the soft tyres. Papa Squanch and Fade opted to start on a set of the hards. So Papa wanted to try and go a bit longer in this stint, which I don't blame him. But Faye's quite interestingly starting on a set of the hards here, Jamie.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised he's at the front. I'm not too shocked. Papa is sort of in the midfield, maybe going a little bit different, trying to run on. Maybe have a cheeky safety car around lap 10 would be nice for him. But yeah, not hugely surprised by that. But yeah, Fage on the hard tyre. No, I think the hard is probably the best race tyre, but the problem with the hard tyre is it takes 2 or 3 laps to get hooked up. But the thing is, what he's done nicely here, he's managed to stay in DRS to the front too, and that is going to work a treat for him, because whilst he's getting his tyres up temperature up to grip, and he's able to just get off the DRS of these guys and hang on to the back. So it's worked out all right for Fage. That could work out for him. We saw Larkin win a race early on this season doing the alternate strategy. That's what Fage is doing there. So there's a big gap between Fage and Richie already. Catherine is going to get by, and Catherine is going to take 4th place. And Catherine need to get that move done, because she was losing a load of time behind that Williams.
Yeah, it certainly was. And obviously the top 2 are trying to do their best to pull away from Phased. And I've got to say, the Dane's doing a very good job of sitting behind these top 2. And if he can hold on to DRS on these hard tyres, you are right. I'd say the hard tyre is definitely the best tyre around this circuit. And when it gets to sort of around lap 5, lap 6, is when we're going to start to see the difference between the hards and the mediums. Those mediums, they probably die off almost as quick as the soft compound tyres. So yeah, I'm not surprised to see obviously Lawrence trying to opt to go for a few positions and try and move up on those softs, but unfortunately it's not worked out for him. He's down into 12th position. Larkin has moved up ahead of Joe as well now, interestingly enough, and Coutinho and Lawrence both side by side going in towards the chicane, and it's a bit of argy-bargy between the pair of them, but Lawrence holds on up ahead of the Ferrari, but now losing out DRS to the rest of the guys out in front. The 3 boys at the front still within that little DRS train. Are we going to see Salau go for a move on Morgan at the front of the field? Catherine setting the fastest lap off the race. She's already dropped DRS to Rich out there as Morgan tries to go a bit defensive in towards turn number 1. Solau sweeping it around the outside to have the inside for the second part of the chicane. Morgan's then going to have the inside for the third part of the chicane, and Solau sweeps it around the outside to get the lead of the race. It's allowed Face to now get himself involved in the battle between these two here as they make their way in towards the hairpin, and I think Solau is going to be the one coming out on top of that, but Morgan shut the door on Solau, and Solau said, no, I'm barging my way through there, and gets into the lead of the race.
No, that was very aggressive on both. Breaking on the grass. How did he manage to keep that on the track? And Morgan not giving much room at all, but Solo says, no, I'm taking this corner, I'm going to take the lead here. And he's trying to bolt away. Look at that, he's pulled 7 temps, 8 temps. He's trying to bolt away from DRS. Now, if he gets a good exit for Rhea, it may be possible, but what a move that was by Solo. And yeah, he's looking comfortable at the moment, but I think Morgan is just about going to hang on DRS, is he? The detection point is here, and I think Morgan is just about being saved, because Solo pulled a lot of time that little sector.
Yeah, he certainly has. Salau is definitely looking the fastest on the track at this current moment. Catherine is trying her best to catch up to the top 3 as well. She managed to hold the same sort of time to the top 3 at the moment, but I don't think she's going to be able to get in their DRS, probably, well, in this stint anyway. I think she's probably going to have to wait for pit stops, maybe go for a bit of an undercut, because that undercut around here is very powerful. Solau, the first one to pick himself up a 3-second time penalty. So our race leader picking up a penalty. Our championship leader is gone into 7th position, jumping up ahead of Cam. So I think we're now going to start to see how these hard tyres are in comparison to these medium tyres. So lap 5, lap 6, and Phased and Papa Squanch are all over the back of the guys that are on a set of the medium. Papa Squanch looking to try and see if he can go for a move on Jess out in front of him, and Phased is eyeing up the back of Morgan like there's no tomorrow. But Solau, the first one to pick up a 3-second time penalty. You were saying it in practice that he was picking up a bunch of penalties. I hope he's not going to replicate this in the race, because he's looking very quick.
No, he's looking very fast, but yeah, as you say, he's just getting a penalty in lap 5, start of lap 5. That's not good, because if you get a penalty at lap 5, he's inevitably going to get penalties later on, because the way he's driving very aggressively, and this is the problem on these track is the track limits are so tight around here, especially around turn 1, turn 2, and up the top of the hill around various outer sections. So yeah, I'm surprised if Solo picks some more penalties. So he may win on track, but he's going to have to pull the gap here, because I don't think Morgan or Phage would get anywhere near as many penalties as the Mercedes man will, unfortunately. And Morgan is just about saying DRS, which around there, the DRS is ultra powerful down that straight. As Larkin's in, and no surprise there with his wing damage coming for early pit stop. Now, will he change his wing? That's we'll find out. Yes, he does. There's no surprise changing around here, because this is a track where wing damage is really punishing because of the nature of the middle sector.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that Larkin's made his way in. Either Mike also making his way into the pits as well. So, first set of pit stops are coming in now for the guys on the mediums. They will probably be doing 2 sets of hards towards the end of this race, which I do not blame them. As I say, the hard tyre is definitely the best tyre around this circuit. And just riding on board at the moment with Papa Squanch just to see what his tyres are like on those hards. And you can see he is just having to hold back a lot behind Jess and behind Rich at the moment. Jess makes a bit of a mistake out of Aqua Minerale. It's going to allow Papa Squanch to maybe go for something. No, he backs off of that one immediately. Jess now losing DRS to Papa Squanch's teammate of Rich 500. I'm surprised Rich has, well, is keeping Jess in his DRS, but I think now not going to allow that to happen. Papa Squanch is now going to try and go and down, or running outside of Jess in towards the final 2 corners. Jess, I think, is just going to have to give that one up. Now down into 7th position, but to my knowledge, I believe she's going to get the DRS on Papa Squanch. And in fact, as I say that, no, she doesn't. She comes into the pits, and Papa Squanch was the one that picked up DRS, so he needs to get within the DRS of his teammate out in front. And I believe he will. As you say, those hard tyres are significantly better than those mediums at the moment. As these yellow flags going into the pits. Oh, in fact, that's a spinner out of the final corner. It's Whipping Proverb.
Yeah, he's trying to come out. I think he must have got took away on the curb, but oh my god, he nearly hit the wall. He nearly lost his wheel there into the pit lane. He's having a bit of a Austin Powers moment here, coming into the pits, and yeah, he gets it around there, but yeah, that's cost him a lot of time, and he is a guy who needs a safety car now, because he is out of contention for any sort of points if it stays green.
Yeah, no, he certainly is. So very unfortunate for Whipping Proverb in that. If safety car does come out, it will help him massively, but from how it's looking at the moment, everyone's pretty spread apart, other than the top 3 and Papa Squanch and his teammate. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any sort of safety cars at any time soon, if I'm honest with you. But already onto the 7th lap, and yeah, a lot of gaps already forming. As I say, the top 3 all are, they've just completely left the likes of Catherine and Rich behind. And yeah, we're now going to start to see some pits from the top guys. Solau into the pits. It is also very easy to speed here, as Ivan Mike pointed out. He picks up himself up a 10-second time penalty. Solau doesn't manage to do that, which is very good. So, yeah, it is very, very easy to speed into the pits around here. The pit line is literally towards the start of the pit lane. So, yeah, I think very easy to actually pick up any sort of penalty. It's just being very careful to get themselves into the pits. But let's see where Solau actually comes out in terms of either Bryn Mike, because he was the one that was the first ones that are pitted. He is coming around the final corner now. Solau is just coming out of pit, so absolutely nowhere near him. But where is Rich in relation to all this? Because Rich and Catherine, well, they might actually be behind Mike here, as coming out of the pits now. Either Bryn Mike's in front of him. Jess is also right behind Mike. Mike has somehow managed to jump himself up about 5 positions here, Jamie.
And that's incredible. That's incredible. The undercut is extremely powerful there, but not that powerful. How fast might go on the pitch? He would have gained 10 seconds with it, but yeah, that is incredible. He's been kicking himself out that penalty because he's right in player for some good, strong points. That 10-second penalty is going to cost him next time he comes to the pitch. But yeah, Mike is showing great awareness here and just shows you how powerful the undercut is around here. As Solo has gone for that, and Solo has got some nice, beautiful, clean air. So. He's trying to break DRS and Morgan, I believe, and this is probably his play here. And yeah, he's taking that very nicely there. Morgan's coming to pits now to cover off Salah. He's had to do. He could go a lap longer because you cannot afford to lose too much time. You have to stay within touching distance. A nice stop there for the Aston crew, but Salah should be comfortably ahead of the Aston Martin here because his outlap has gone without a hitch.
Yeah, I would have thought so as well. Mikey picking up a 10-second penalty as he speeds into the pits. Cam is onto a set of hards. I expect a lot of these guys to maybe make their way onto the set of hards. But let's have a look. Morgan and Solau coming out of the pits now. Is the Aston Martin. He is behind the Mercedes once again. Yeah, he is definitely closer than I would have thought so. But I saw Morgan was absolutely pushing on his in-lap. He got a second gap ahead of Phased as he made his way into the pits. So yeah, Morgan was absolutely pushing on his in-lap. Jess manages to get the move done on the Welshman. Well, her fellow commentator as well for the P1 tier. So Jess now back up into 6th position, in a very good position as well because she's jumped up ahead of Catherine. Jess is in a net 4th position at the moment, maybe even a net 3rd position here, JB.
Yeah. I believe we're net 4th when Phage pits, but yeah, that is great positions for Jess there, and yeah, I believe she'll be racing Pepper Squanch when Pepper eventually pits. So yeah, that is fantastic for her, and obviously good qualifying. And she's in good form with 5th place last week. Sorry, what have you noticed?
Stolau again, another 3-second time penalty. So he's picking these up again every 5 laps. He's picked himself up another 3-second time penalty. So he's already writing himself off for the win this evening as Welsh Benjamin comes into the pits. Solau gets a bit lucky with that as he picks up himself some DRS up ahead of Morgan. So he lives to fight another day with that, but Solau had no DRS. I think Morgan would look to put the pressure onto the Mercedes out in front of him. But we were saying about Solau maybe trying to go for a win for this evening or even a potential 2nd place. He may not even pick that up depending on when the likes of Papa Squanch and Phage opt to pit, especially with the penalties that he's picking up.
May not even get a podium, maybe off the podium here, because Phage and Papa will be quite close come the end. So yeah, Salome may cross the line in the 1st place, but may not finish on the podium, which should be absolutely gut-wrenching for him. Also, he yet to win a racing one. I've had loads of podiums, there's loads of points, but yet to get a win, and well, tonight it's not looking likely. Even if he's the fastest driver in this race, it's not looking like he's going to win here unless Morgan can pick slow the penalties, but I'm not seeing it. And Salo is at the moment he's on pace to pick up. He's on pace to pick up around 18 seconds of penalties at the moment. So he needs to shape up here, unless he may not finish top 5 at this rate. So especially if you get a late safety car. So the one guy who does not want a safety car today is Salo.
Yeah, certainly, and I completely agree with that. As Phage, interestingly, making a very early pit stop onto a set of the medium tyres. It's a lot earlier than I would have thought on those hard tyres, but we'll see how it works out for himself, where he's going to opt to come out by Elliot. All of these guys, he is in 3rd position. Jess, unfortunately, nowhere to be seen, as either Mike may be looking to try and go for a move on Jess down towards turn 1. I don't think the Welshman's going to go for anything, as Rich and Catherine changing positions as well. So Catherine now up into 7th, Rich down to 8th. Yeah, Rich had a very good start of this race, but unfortunately now getting overtaken by Catherine and by Jess on strategy, as Lawrence picks up a 10-second penalty for cutting the corner. I think it must have been over the chicane, maybe that battle he's having with Whipping Proverb. But yeah, Mike now down into 6th, unfortunately, and yeah, very unfortunate for Lawrence. As you say, missing a front wing now, so he's probably going to come into the pits and get that changed as soon as possible. 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits, and that is Lawrence out of the race. Yeah, so I was expecting that. Very unfortunate, our first retiree for this evening.
Yeah, he had a spin. I know he's had a spin up the top end of the left there. I believe that's where he got his wing damage. Yeah, just get frustrated race for Lawrence there. And yeah, he'll be back next week, hopefully do better. As Morgan has taken the lead off Salome. Look at the gap he's pulled. Salome must have made a mistake somewhere, because he's pulled 2 seconds on his lap. He must have Stallone must have made a mistake somewhere because he's lost 2 seconds. That is incredible. I'm not sure where he's made the mistake, but we missed it on screen. And yes, Morgan. It's in sector 1 where he lost the time. So I wonder if Stallone got a wheel on the grass in one of these chicanes, and that's how he lost the lead.
There is that chance as Jess and Mike now going side by side in towards turn 1. Mike is opting to hold it down the inside. 2 into 1 there, though. Do not go. And unfortunately, Mike has spun himself around. It's another Ivor spin, Mike. Again, I feel like Jess may have tried. Well, I feel she left enough room there. But again, we'll have to wait for stewards in terms of that. I'm intrigued on the P1 stream. Bit of bad blood between the pair of them now after that spin. So make sure you tune in to the P1 stream because I'd be quite intrigued to hear what will be talked about in there between the pair of them. But yeah, Jess and Mike unfortunately having that collision. It's allowed Catherine to now close up slightly, and I think this might be the first time we're going to see it here this evening, Jamie, and the first time this season we get to see a nice little women battle going on for 5th position.
Catherine is really on the charge here, and she is really on a mission as Papa does pit. I presume they're going to set medium tyres, but Catherine is really just, she's on a mission here. She can sense the possible podium here with Solo's penalty situation. Obviously, there is a bit of a gap, but if Solo keeps taking penalties like he does, it is going to be possible. If Papa's going to mediums, he should come out. I tell you, Papa's going to come out very close between these two, so watch out for Papa coming out pits. Catherine is on DRS. Catherine is going to get this move done, but will Papa affect this? I believe he may do. Yeah, Papa has affected that, denied. Catherine, the chance will take it. I'm pretty sure Catherine would have got that move done round the outside, but she had no space because Papa's got you in the way. So that is bad luck for Catherine there.
Yeah, very bad luck for Catherine. I think, as you say, she was about to get the move done on Jess out in front of her as well, and unfortunately, Papa coming out of the pits is the way that the pit lane exit is Imola. Unfortunately, he was in the path of Catherine as she was going for the overtake, so she had to back off of that one. I'm surprised Jess didn't hold her nose in that, because Papa gave her plenty of space on the inside there to try and go for the move. But Papa ends up coming out in front of Jess, so he's now up into a net 4th position after starting down in 11th. So very good recovery drive from Papa Squanch so far. I think after having himself some clear air on those hard tyres, it's allowed him to get a bit more of a jump on those guys out behind them. So yeah, very good jump for Papa Squatch there. Top 4 again are completely clear of everybody else, and here we go. We're now going to have the resumption of the battle of the women here between Jess and Catherine for that 5th position. Cam also just behind this battle going on, as well as Rich, and it's also allowing Larkin and Moqui to catch back up. They're not slouches either whatsoever. Obviously, we've seen Moqui a few times in this season. He's picked himself up a podium at least so far. And here we go, the 2 McLarens in fact going at it. It's not Catherine going for it, it's Cam and Catherine going for it, both changing positions. I'm surprised they opted to change positions. I don't know if that was meant or not, as Rich is now going to try and go for the move on Catherine into turn number 4 and gets the move done. So after all of that, Cam wanted to try and go for a move on Jess. Catherine wanted to try and go for a move on Jess, and Cam ended up going for a move on his teammate instead. It's cost Catherine not 1 but 2 positions.
No way that was planned there. If you're going to let a teammate through, you don't do it through. That was racing between them two, and it's cost Catherine dear. I'd say Jess had amazing straight line speed down the pit straight there. She wasn't really threatened. I don't know if she's using battery or something there, but Jess's straight line speed is very strong. She must be wearing very low wings, and she's showing a bit in the middle sector. She weaves to one, but ties a bit there, but down that pitch straight, she's absolutely rapid. It's not going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy for these guys to overtake there. But yeah, Cam, great opportunity driving there to get the place. So now he's going to have a shot at Jess. We've got another yellow flag. I believe that is for Boffin Bobbert, who's had another spin. So not a great race for the RB man. But Jess called them made this trade. It's not as what can Cam do? Cam's not close enough.
No, it certainly isn't. And Moqui as well. Also, I've just realised got the move done on Larkin in the last lap. It's allowed the kick Sauber to get himself in the DRS of those guys out in front, and same with Larkin. So it's a Red Bull train that's going on at the moment, a Red Bull sandwich, just leading the train, Larkin at the very back of it. You'll see if Larkin's able to maybe move up a few positions in this. I think what they're really hoping for is a safety car to come out. Obviously, Solau is definitely hoping a safety car does not come out, but I think the Red Bull drivers are 100% hoping if there is a safety car, they have a very good opportunity, a good strategy between the pair of them. Obviously, Larkin probably would need to back off slightly more so that he doesn't double stack with Jess. But yeah, there's definitely a safety car is what I think both of the Red Bull drivers are hoping for this evening.
Yeah, definitely getting back in play a little bit. So we're starting to catch up a little bit again on Morgan, but still not quite in DRS. As whopping proverb, not a huge surprise as we retire from the race. I think it's about to get lapped there. So yeah, we're down to 15 runners. And yeah, Mike in 11th place, but he's still got that 10-second penalty serve, which I think is going to cost him a chance of a points position. As Jess yet again, these guys are, if anything, losing time to Jess and Catherine, who was looking so fast early on. Now was under threat from Woki, and Woki may get the move done here into turn 1. They both got DRS, so it's just going to be a pure outbreaking move for the Sauber man. But no, he doesn't. No, he can't. No, he's not close enough, and Catherine does hang on. But yeah, Woki looks to have some serious pace. Obviously, he missed last week due to a bit of illness, but he's back now, and it's good to see him back on form a little bit and in this midfield battle, which is very entertaining.
Yeah, it certainly is. So Jess still managing the lead in this trade. Mostly not able to get a move done on Catherine out in front. Was just running on board as well. The battle of the Mikes, and it was the Aston Martin Mike of Mikey going up ahead of the Welshman out in front. So yeah, very unfortunate for Mike. I think he's starting to lose a bit of pace on these hard tyres. I think these hard tyres are definitely starting to die out a bit more, as Larkin's almost starting to lose touch to this train out in front of a teammate. So yeah, I think Larkin needs to try and get back within the DRS. Well, I hope he can hold on the DRS of these guys out in front. But I think Moku's also trying to drop that DRS, so he's one less threat for the kick Sauber driver. But we know what Larkin's like in the race. He's definitely a lot better in the race in comparison to qualifying, and it's already showing here as Cam, I thought, was going to go for a move in towards the penultimate corner on Jess, but the McLaren driver thinks better of it. But he's definitely going to have the run on the Red Bull out in front. Jess using her ERS, Cam using his ERS. I think, unfortunately for Jess, this is going to be moved done. Cam jumps up into 5th position. Of course, with Cam's penalty, Jess will still hold on a net 5th position. But yeah, Jess now unfortunately losing that position, and in fact actually might lose the position of Richie. She had a bit of a mistake going through that chicane. Richie's going to go down the inside of Jess in towards turn number 4, gets that move done. Jess maybe trying to look for the switch back. No, she's not going to be able to do it, and again the battle of the women resume now for 7th and 8th position, but Cam jumps up into 6th. Rich now up into 7th position. Very unfortunate for Jess there. Again, very similar to what happened with Catherine, just losing out 2 positions there.
Yeah, obviously Jess was at the front of that train for a long time, and I think once Cam got by, she got a bit spooked, I think, by dirty air coming out of that chicane, and she lost the rear end a little bit there. And Rich, great opportunity from there, he saw that as an opportunity, used his battery down the short shoot, and managed to get the move done into the middle of the chicane. Now these two starting to pull away, but Jess is just hanging on DRS, and yeah, so she's not out of this fight yet, but yeah, that was great drive there from Rich to see. Jess made a little mistake, thought this is my chance, I've got to get this move done, and he has, and now he's going to try and get through Cam to get into 5th place. It's been pretty good recovery from Rich after a difficult first stint. Rich tends to struggle in the first stint, but I think he tends to do better as the race progresses.
I'd say he actually had a pretty... Yeah, she's definitely in the pits, so Catherine, the first one to do her 2 stops for this evening. I'd say Rich actually had a pretty decent stint in the first stint. Say moving up into 4th position, you know, putting a battle onto the guys out in front. I don't know what had happened in between his pit stops, but he's now down into 6th. But yeah, he's having a decent second stint here as well, just getting a bit more of a recovery on as to what happened in that first stint. So yeah, I think Rich is definitely going to have a good opportunity of getting ahead of Cam, of course, with Cam's penalty. He'll get him through the penalty system anyway, but yeah, I think Rich probably wants to try and get this done on track, especially the amount of time that's being lost to his teammate out in front of him.
Yeah, I'm not hugely surprised to see Catherine pit there, because she was in dirty air, and she was getting held up. She couldn't overtake. She thought, I'm going to go for it. I've got to do something here. You know, I mean, it's a long way in the end on these set of tyres, but she had to go for it there. And you know, watch Catherine took a couple of quick laps here and try and jump up a few cars there. She might be able to undercut the whole lot. You saw how much Michael undercut there. So yeah, Catherine may undercut everybody there. And so these guys ahead, they're going to have to pit to cover off, because you cannot afford to let somebody undercut you by as much as some of the guys did earlier on.
Yeah, no, certainly do. So let's have a look. Are there any of these guys going to make their way into the pits at the end of this lap? Cam, no. Jess does, which is a bit, and I think that might be a bit annoying for Larkin, because I feel like he was probably going to come in at the end of this lap as well. He's on an 13 lap old, hard tyres. So Jess obviously coming in to cover off Catherine. Smart move from her. Unfortunately for Larkin, that's not going to work out for him, and he's going to have to go another lap, and he's out of the DRS and those guys out in front. So Larkin is really going to take a massive hit from this. So going to get undercut by both Jess and Catherine. But where is Jess coming out in relation to Catherine? Because this probably will be the closest battle, as Jess is just coming out of the pit lane now. There is Catherine on your screen. She does come out significantly in front of Jess. About 2 seconds out in front of Jess.
And considering Jess was actually ahead of Catherine, that was one lap, clean air, fresh tyres. That's about nearly about 3 seconds of undercut there. That is incredible. That is absolutely amazing. And
yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah, Catherine, she's got a chance to show her pace now in clean air. Obviously, she's still got the fast lap of the race and the first stint. We'll see what she can do now. Maybe she can push on us. Solo now pits again. Surely set hards to the end. Yes, he does. Decent stop there. I think he'll come out ahead of Cam, will it? It's going to be tight. It's very hard to tell because his pit lane is so long, but he should come out ahead of Cam, will he, though? It's going to be very tight.
No, I think he's going to come out behind these guys. Yeah, I think he is behind them. So, yeah, Solau, unfortunately, is going to be in a massive DRS train. Is Larkin going to come out in front of him as well? I think Larkin, he's going to come out in front of Solau. No, they're both still side by side. Just managing to avoid collision with one another. But Solau out in front of Larkin. I'm surprised Larkin, again, didn't pit on that lap. So maybe he's going for a set of the mediums towards the end of this race. Yeah. Which is quite surprising.
It's a very long stint for Larkin. 14 laps. It would be 15 and this lap finishes. And yeah, them hard tyres. Obviously, getting that wind damage early on. He's done a decent recovery job so far, but look how far ahead the cars are here. Yeah, he may have a nice offset, but will he be able to get fight back? I believe he's leaving off too much to do. Yeah, if you go this long, you're in mediums for sure, because if you pitted hard, you'd pitted this lap or last lap. So all these guys staying out now, they're going mediums to the end for sure.
Well, let's have a look, because Morgan's just coming into the pits. I'm assuming he's covering off Solau and going on a set of the hards at the end here. For Solau, though, doing the undercut on these guys, it definitely has not worked, as there's yellow flags out in front. That is of the other Aston Martin of Mikey, unfortunately, dropping back behind Ivan and Mike. Solau almost hitting the back of Mokri there, as they're still in this little battle going on. Both Morgan and FaZe and Papa Squanch have all come into the pits. Cam is also into the pits, so Solau needs to get some moves done here. He's going to go for the move on Mokri. He's going to go for the move on Rich, but Rich is not close enough, so he's going to have to sit behind him. Morgan comes out in the lead of the race.
Yeah, clear air as well for Kushim. Solo has to get his move done. He has to do it now. He cannot afford to spend the whole sector behind Twitch, and he gets it done. But yeah, Morgan, if anything, he's gained time because of the traffic. Morgan's had an overcut there on Solo, which is very rare around there. But it just shows how important it is to come out in clean air. And there's such a long pit loss around there, around 25 seconds, and that has cost Solo dear. As Rich had a bit of a moment there, but Morgan cannot take advantage. But yeah, Morgan, I have to say, it's odds on for him to take the win with Solo 6-second penalty and 2 seconds back and on worse tyres. Solo needs absolute miracle. He needs Morgan to bin it, basically.
Yeah, it certainly does. I think what they'd all be hoping is, even though Solau's got the 6 seconds of penalties, could potentially be hoping that a safety car comes out so that he has the opportunity of being able to battle against Morgan for a win. On track, obviously, he'll have the penalties, but I'm sure Solau probably doesn't want to just sort of take that line down sitting in second. He's got the gap up ahead of Fade, but Fade is actually on a set of the medium tyres, so he's gone on mediums to go to the end, which I'm quite surprised at. I think that might be a lap or two a bit early going on a set of the mediums, as Michael coming into the pits for his final stop. Rich opted to stay out, so he's definitely going on a set of the mediums at the end of this race. Solau setting the fastest lap off the race as well, whilst Benjamin coming in for his final stop. So Fade is definitely going to... It looks like he's going to finish in third, but is he going to be able to get that gap down enough to get up ahead of Solau with the penalties that he has gotten? And maybe Solau, instead of finishing second, could potentially finish third for the first time this season.
Yeah, obviously he's been second or fourth for him so far, but yeah, if he can finish third, then it'll be different there. But I think it's going to be it's very interesting to get these battles on the lap time rather than track, because it just fluctuates. And yeah, I expect FaZe to be quicker now, but as I say, that's a long way to go on the best set of mediums, and the last 2 laps for him may be a bit marginal, so he's going to have to go for it now and just hope he can hang on at the end. He's going to have to full send it here because he cannot afford to be too cautious, but he's going to catch up to Rich now. If he gets sucked by Rich here for a couple of laps, that may affect him too. So he's got to have a nice clean overtake on the Williams, who who doesn't look as quick as the RB at the moment. So he's in slipstream, but I don't think he's got DRS just yet. So next lap for him, you have to get that move done next lap and the DRS straight.
You might even try and go for it in the middle of the lap. I wouldn't be at all surprised, considering that, as you say, he's on the set of the mediums. He needs to go for something so that he can get.
He's got a good run.
Yeah,
He might
so
do
that
it for it in the hairpin. Roger maybe do it in the hairpin here. Toast the hairpin. Let's see. He's going to think about it. Going to send it inside. Is he? He's too far back, I think. If it was a bit closer, he would have sent it. But yeah, it's a bit too far back.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Fade there. So he's going to have to sit behind Rich for a little bit longer. Yeah, he definitely needs to try. If he wants to get the jump on Solau, or wants to try and attempt to get the jump on Solau, he may need to get a move done in the middle of this lap rather than at the DRS straight. But at the same time, if he does that, Rich could then be a bit under pressure. Fade could then be a bit under pressure from Richards. There we go. I think this is where he's going to do it. Coming up towards the hairpin. Coming towards the chicane. He gets the move done, using that overtake to get past the Williams driver, and Rich is now down into fourth. But I'm assuming we're going to see Rich come into the pits at the end of this lap. There's no way he stays out on these hards for another lap, because though he's just losing an amount of time.
No, definitely got a pit now, because it's all good enough to have nice fresh tyres at the end of the race. So he stays out another lap. He does have DRS on Phage, but that's no good, because look, he's going to get a bit of DRS, but look how much he's lost. Phage overtook him 2 corners ago. He's pulled out nearly a second in 2 corners. This is why I think the best strategy was double hard, because you have to go really long and hard tyre, and it just comes to a stage where the tyres have turned to mush, like Richard at this stage, and look how Catherine is only about 10 seconds behind Rich on track, and they all fight each other not too long ago. So yeah, that's not worked out for Rich at all. I don't think he's going to be able to get back to Catherine. Well, Catherine has had a great sit there as Cam's overtaken Jess for 7th. So the McLaren team having another strong race, and they're looking to have a strong second half of the season.
Yeah, as you're saying at the start of the stream, he's definitely looking to try and have a better second half of this season for sure. Obviously, Cam's penalty is going to allow Jess to still go up ahead of him, but I think Jess needs to try and do her best to stay within the DRS of Cam, because if not, Cam is looking pretty pacey. So if Cam can drop Jess out of the DRS, he's got a shot of getting a 3-second gap up ahead of Jess to finish still in 7th position. Of course, Larkin behind picked himself up a 3-second time penalty not too long ago either, so Larkin is definitely going to be he's not going to be challenged by any of the guys behind unless a safety car comes out, in which case he'll be under threat from Welsh Benjamin. But yeah, I think at the moment it is penalty central. I think at this moment, other than the change between Cam and Jess, it's looking like this might be the order of what it will finish in.
Yeah, definitely. There's Papasco's seems to have the pace the front two tonight in the race. So yeah, I think Solo, he's looking good for second at the moment, because I think Phage's tyres will just die off. What Solo's got to do is just not going to get any more penalties. Just drive sensibly, because if he does, he's got second in the bag here. So just maybe tone down the aggression a little bit, and just maybe go 8 temps rather than 9 temps. There's a bit of a slide there, so he's not listening to me at all. But yeah, Solo, if he just drives sensibly, he's got second place in the bag here. His pace is. Yeah, his pace has been as quick as Morgan, but then penalties just cost him a dear.
Yeah, it certainly has, and the two Williams boys very close with each other here as well. I wonder if Richard actually stayed out on those tyres just to help Papa Squanch and give him DRS down the straight.
Yeah, maybe. He should pit this lap, and Papa will get 3 DRS down the straight, so he should pit this lap. Yeah. There we go. Good team play there by Williams.
Yeah, so Papa Squanch getting the DRS now. On his teammate. Rich is now into the pits finally. He's going to drop back from Catherine, from Cam, from Jess, and from Larkin, even Mokwe as well. So yeah, very unfortunate. Rich, he might even be around where Joe is at the moment as well. He's going to slot indefinitely between the pair of Mokwe and Joe, but I feel like it might be a bit closer than what Rich was hoping for between himself and Joe.
I believe he's going to be comfortably ahead of Joe here. He's exiting the pit lane now. Joe's crossing the start-finish line. It's tighter than I thought, but it's going to be about 4 or 5 seconds ahead of Joe there. But yeah, look how much time we lost, because he was racing Catherine not long ago, and Catherine it's about 17 seconds ahead. So that is incredible. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Vitinho picking up another 3-second time penalty. I'm just looking at the penalties for each of the guys out on the circuit at the moment. Salah, just in case you're unaware, has got 6 seconds off the penalties. Vitinho has just picked up another 3-second penalty. So he's picked up 6 seconds in the space of one sector, which is quite interesting. Cam, 3 seconds. Larkin, 3 seconds. With Moku in 3 seconds. Joe in 3 seconds. Vitinho with 15 seconds of penalties. Mike and Mikey, the battle of the mics, sitting on 6 seconds of penalties apiece. So they're looking to try and scrap it out very evenly between the pair of them for basically the wooden spoon, as Lawrence and Wooden Proverb have both retired from the session.
I expected them bottom 3 old pit, about 3 laps to go. Get a fresh set soft to go fast lap, but they've got to be careful because the gap is around gap to leader. They've got to be careful don't get lapped, so they've got to time this right, because if they time it wrong they may get lapped. So they can go for a fast lap attempt. They've got to time this right, because the pace of the top 2 is just it's bringing them guys into threat of being lapped here, so they've got to be careful they're going to do that. But yeah, expect to see some fast lap attempts from the guys at the back, and Rich on these fresh mediums, you got a good chance to get a fast lap inside top 10. So but yeah, he's no chance. He's got to get within 3 seconds of Roki and Larkin to gain on them, and he's 9 seconds back, so that's going to be a test, I think. Which maybe nail on 10th place here, but we'll keep an eye out for that, as there's not too many battles on track. The closest battle we've got is between the 2 admin members of Cam and Jess for 6th.
Yeah, I certainly do. And Mopi and Larkin also both quite close to each other as well. I think Jess Larkin needs to try and get in DRS of his teammate, otherwise he's going to be getting overtaken by Mokui again. He's managed to get past him on strategy alone, but this happened last time, and Mokui just used DRS and got straight back past the Red Bull driver, and I get the feeling we're about to see the exact same thing go down between the pair of them. They both have a 3-second time penalty, so they are battling it out for position between the pair of them. They're not going to be involved in the battle between Cam and Jess, but yeah, they're both battling it out for position here, and I get the feeling Mopi is going to go for this move on Larkin, making their way down towards turn number 1. Larkin's going to go and cover that one off in towards turn 1. Mopi's just going to hold on behind the Red Bull for now, and again, it means Larkin is just losing out more time to Jess in front.
Yeah, because he had to go defensive in turn 1 there. He lost half a second there just by going defensive into turn 1. That's very, very bad news, as well as Benjamin gets Joe for 11th. So Benjamin's done good with some points down in 11th place. As Larkin, this is bad news for his championship, getting the 8th place while he's always contenders in the top 4. Larkin's championship starting to fall away as he gets into the gravel there, and that allows Roki to get through there. Larkin a bit unsettled there. Ali's tyres going off already.
Yeah, certainly are. The mediums really only last 6 or 7 laps before they start, as you say, being like absolute mush. So yeah, I think the mediums for the rest of these guys now, they're already struggling on it. Rich, even though he's 7 seconds behind both Mopi and Larkin, could jump up ahead of them on being on those fresh mediums.
Yeah, he's gained about half a second and a half. He's past lap and a half, so yeah, it is possible. And I say, the tyres can get worse and worse for Larkin. I don't think Rich is going to be under any threat. These tyres going off how late he picked. So yeah, Rich could get 8th place here. He could leapfrog them too. He just needs to find a little bit more pace, and that is definitely doable.
Yeah, it certainly does. So what's actually quite interesting, I'm keeping an eye on each of the gaps. Papa Squanch is now only 4 seconds behind Phased, and I know that the mediums are definitely going off. The hard tyres, they can last for a little bit longer than those mediums, and Phased, he's done well on those mediums so far, but Papa Squanch, that time is just dropping and dropping between himself and Phased.
Yeah.
Papa might still be on for a podium if Phased picks himself up a penalty.
Yeah, definitely. And Phage under threat here, because the last lap, he lost a second last lap, and Phage has got to keep careful with track limits. He's got another yellow flag. That is for Vitinho, I believe. So Vitinho, 18-second penalty. It's another spin there. So Vitinho is going to be pointless yet again. It's going to be yet another pointless race for Vitinho. But yeah, Phage got to be careful here, because Papa won't catch him on track, but he may catch him on penalties. But the problem is, when your tyres go off, it makes warnings are more and more likely, because you just slide, you understeer and oversteer with the corners, so it makes penalties more likely. So Phage just got to be careful here. He won't lose his podium. It'll be 3 points as well here if he keeps this, and that'd be quite impressive. But yeah, I'm on board with him, and he's just, the grip's just gone away from him as Papa has gained 8/10 in the first sector.
Yeah, it certainly will. It would be a third place in a row for FaZe, and funny enough, the only other drivers that have had more than 3 positions in a row for where they finished are both Papa Squanch and Solal. So yeah, I think quite interesting that FaZe is going to be a third driver to have a third consecutive position finished, and it's in third place. So yeah, very interesting for FaZe in that. And in fact, Papa Squanch 3 seconds now behind FaZe. So yeah, he's got to be very careful. No 3-second time penalty is picked up for the RB driver out there. Still riding on board with this battle between Jess and Cam, as Cam had a massive tank slapper out of the hairpin just after the first sector. I thought Jess was going to go for the move on the McLaren, but I think Cam just ended up covering that one off. And I think, as I say, Jess is just quite happy sitting behind the McLaren for now, whilst obviously Cam has got that penalty. I think Jess just doesn't want to sort of get involved and doesn't want to take too many risks, and just is quite content with finishing in 6th. And again, I wouldn't blame her. That would be a very good result for her. And I think, to my knowledge, she would actually jump up ahead of Mokwe in the standings.
Yeah, very good. Do a top 6 finish for her. Obviously, that's good to see. And yeah, she's doing really solid race there. Yeah, she's not really threatening to overtake Cam. She'll overtake Cam if she has to, and she's not under a threat from behind. Obviously, the guys behind her got 3-second penalties. So yeah, she's very comfortable there. As long as she doesn't get a penalty, she'll be fine. As Rich is very close to overtaking Larkin on time. He's going to do that now. He's within 2.8 seconds. So Rich, at the moment, is going to leapfrog Larkin to 9th place.
Oh, and I'll tell you what's quite interesting. We're about to start the final lap of the race. Mike and Mikey have both come into the pits thinking that they're going to go for the fastest lap. And both of the Mikes have timed it absolutely atrociously, as Joe's had a massive moment into the gravel just out of the exit of the first sector, sorry. And if both Mikey and Mike didn't pit, they probably could have jumped up ahead of Joe from that. But yeah, they've now pit, expecting to try and go for the fastest lap, but we're on the final lap. Morgan, 2 seconds leading up ahead of Solal.
No, yeah, that's bad timing there. I mentioned that earlier, they could get lap. Vitinho, wise enough, picked a lap before, he's aware of that, so Vitinho's got to run that fast lap there. But yeah, bad timing for the team Mikes there. They're going to be nailed on to 13th and 14th. Mikey has got the fast lap at the moment. It'd be open Vitinho does not beat it. He's got another yellow flag. So I have Mike, who's just getting out of the way of the faster cars, as Morgan has pulled for 2.5 seconds in these last 2 or 3 laps. Morgan is now in total command, and I say Morgan is getting ever closer to Papa Squanch in that title battle, as Papa Squanch getting ever closer to FaZe, but he's going to run out of time. I hope FaZe gets a penalty.
Yeah, he certainly does. So Morgan, he's led this race pretty much from start to finish the entire time, other than that one lap with Solal. Papa Squanch picks up a 3-second time penalty, so no chance of him being able to jump ahead of FaZe. But Morgan has been absolutely dominant throughout the whole of that race. He comes home to take a 3rd race win in a row, tying that with Papa Squanch. Solal will end up finishing in 2nd, and FaZe, after being on absolute dead medium tyres, will end up taking 3rd position. It's third place in a row as well. Papa Squanch will finish in 4th position. Catherine will come home and finish an impressive 5th position, finally getting herself some points in that McLaren. Cam will finish in 6th on track, but will get jumped by Jess. Jess will end up finishing in 6th, Cam in 7th. Mokwe will finish in 8th. Larkin will finish 9th on the circuit, but I believe he's in fact run out of fuel, so he won't even finish 9th on the circuit. Rich jumps up ahead of him in 9th, and Larkin finishes in 10th in the end. Very disappointing afternoon for Larkin with that gearbox penalty in qualifying as well. Welsh Benjamin will come out and finish in 11th to pick up some decent points for the Alpine guys. Joe will finish in 12th as well. And then Mikey, Iberbryn, Mike and Vitinho all out of the session. I don't think they actually even managed to pick up a fastest lap either. They may have picked up fastest lap outside of the top 10, but outside top 12, shall I say. No, it is top 10, sorry, outside top 10, but yeah, unfortunately, they didn't actually pick themselves up the actual fastest lap of the race. So, very good battling at the very start of the race between Morgan, between Solal and between FaZe, and it then turned into a 2-horse race. Unfortunately, with the amount of penalties that Solal had picked up, there was just going to be absolutely no hope for him to win that race. It was all Morgan for this afternoon. And yeah, he takes the win for today. I say Solau in second, Fage in third. Papa Squanch, very good recovery with that 10 grid place penalty to finish in fourth. Catherine in fifth, Jess in sixth, Cam in seventh with Mokri in eighth. From 14th on the grid, a very good drive from Mokri there. Rich in ninth, Larkin in 10th, Welsh Benjamin in 11th, Joe in 12th, Mikey 13th, who actually did pick up the fastest lap, shall I say, so congratulations to Mikey for that one. Ivor Broom, Mike in 14th, Vitinho 15th, with a Proverb, and Lawrence, the two that unfortunately had DNF'd out of all of that. And Jamie, who would you say is your sim racing setup driver of the day for that one?
I'm going to go Catherine. Qualified fourth, starts fifth, solid race, good pace, some nice overtaking, no penalties. Good drive for her. Definitely best the rest day between them, behind them top four. I'm going to say Catherine, well done. Good race. What made you decide to pit so early on that final stint? It worked out a treat for you because you got some nice clear air and a deserved top 5 finish.
Very good question for her indeed. And if I had to go for my sim racing setup driver of the day, I'd probably have to give it to the one that was absolutely dominant in this race this evening. Didn't look like anybody could catch him or even touch him or anything. It's got to be for Morgan. I definitely got to say he's my sim racing driver of the day. Question to him is, at the start of that, did you think you were going to be able to hold on ahead of Solau after he had overtaken you? Were you close to any penalties yourself? And were you worried that a safety car could have come out and could have impacted an absolute dominant race win for himself? So, yeah, obviously, make sure you guys, if you are in the Discord for One Hub, you are voting for your sim racing driver of the day for the P2 side of things. Final thoughts on that, Jamie? I mean, 3 wins in a row for Morgan. It's definitely bringing him a lot closer to Papa Squanch now.
Yep. And actually, also, with them results, is Solo winning, get a fast lap inside top 10, and Papa Squanch finishing 4th. It means, according to my calculations, them two will be tied at the top on the points. Obviously, Papa will have the lead on countback, but I know Morgan will be closer as well. Larkin will drop a bit, but them front three are again ever closer, and it's great to see. And I'm gutted I'm missing next week because it's going to be a great race yet again, and hopefully it should be as well. But that championship, it was looking like Papa Squanch's after the first 5 rounds, but his bad race in Baku and his penalty this week has left the door wide open, and Morgan and Solo are taking full advantage.
They certainly are indeed. So make sure you guys are tuning in for next week, obviously for round number 8 around Singapore, the Marina Bay circuit. I think it's definitely going to be a very good one for sure. And make sure you guys are tuning into the P1 tier, starting in approximately 10 minutes with both Jess and Ivor Brent. Mike, again, you do not want to be missing out on that. The championship is also heating up. Kieran, the one that is leading it at the moment, with Axelock in second, but then you've got the likes of Ben Mills, Callum and Armed, and Marco all trying to challenge him for that. And I'll try as well, but it's very difficult at the moment, so make sure you guys are tuned into that as well. Thanks everybody for tuning in for this evening. Big shout out again to all of the sponsors at the bottom of the screen as well for sponsoring the league, and a big thank you to everybody for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys next week for round number 8 around Singapore.